Hi, I'm Rocket, and welcome to another Whiteboarding with Rocket. Today, we're going to do a kata around people and perspectives. Everything we've done so far when it comes to the katas is really all about fundamentals. Lines and arrows, repeating shapes, drawing large, letters and numbers, connecting all the things using an architecture diagram. These are all really meant to build up your fundamentals. This is meant to build up the icing on the cake. You don't have to know how to draw people or create perspective in your whiteboards or shading, any of that. You don't really need that. It'd be nice to have it though. So what I'm going to show you are a handful of basics around how to do that in your whiteboards. Here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to start with figures. Okay? We're going to do both stick figures and box figures. Then we're going to go to faces. We're going to work on simple faces. Everybody knows how to do these. And then we're going to do some kind of expressive faces. So I'm going to show you some cool techniques that you can use for your whiteboards. Then I'm going to talk about shapes in 3D. Okay, creating a perspective, giving it some shade, doing all that kind of fun business. And then finally, I'm going to talk a little bit about shading as a way to differentiate different aspects, both differentiate as well as associate shapes on your whiteboards. All right, so first thing we're going to do is around people or figures. Now these figures are going to have a handful of activities. You're going to have a standing figure, you're going to have a moving figure, a sitting one, a cheering one, and then a double teacupping one. And let me just do this for you right now. Double teacupping, right? I am not happy. That's what double teacupping is. All right, I won't do that again. Anyway, here we go. So we're going to start with stick figures. I want to do each of these. A stick figure is very simple and it's really effective because it conveys what it is. There's some interesting things you can do with a stick figure to give it a little bit more, oomph, if you will. But here we go. Standing. Now a stick figure standing is simply a line, a circle, a line. There you go. No big deal. Okay, moving. Now if you want to do a moving stick figure, right? Do like that, kind of running. Sitting. Okay, pretty straightforward. Cheering. Okay. Practice that because part of this is these here. You don't want to be too grotesque, but you want them to be, maybe that's a little grotesque. There you go. Okay, almost. Let's do it one more time. I'm going to do this properly. Up. All right, I'm cheering. And then double teacupping, which is the opposite. There you go, double teacupping. There's things you can do. You can use kind of the XKCD techniques of adding, things at the feet, the hands. Right? Right? These are simple little things you can do to just give a little bit more interest to your figures. Okay, so that's stick. All right, now let's do box. We're going to do box figures. Now what's a box figure? So a box figure is that. Your body is a box. Okay, want to do running with a box? Want to do sitting with a box? This is one of my favorites because it conveys so much. Right? You do a little kind of a diagonal and a keyboard. right? And if you want, you can give some texture to the keyboard like that. Boom. That's pretty expressive. And then you could also add the chair. Cheering, simple rectangle, and double teacupping. There you go. Stick figure, box figure. Practice these once, twice. You don't need to do a huge amount of these unless you're really wanting to get good at them. I recommend anytime you think about, hey, I need a user here, draw that, okay? Just go, da-da-da-da, there. Then give it a keyboard and a monitor, and that's it. You don't need to do anything more than that, and you've conveyed that is a person sitting at a computer. Okay, so we've covered figures. Now we're going to move to faces. I'm going to erase this and we'll start on that. Okay, you know, very much like stick figures, since early days, how to draw the three simple expressions. Right? A circle, I'm happy. A circle, I'm not happy. A circle, I'm indifferent. 1, 2, 3. Very simple. You want to add some flavor to it. Right? Give it a nose. Okay? Right? But don't. Okay? Know those three things very quickly. Right? Now I'm going to show you the tricks on giving expressive faces. And I'm going to put a link in the show notes that talks about lots of different options. I'm only going to go so far with this because I could spend a whole bunch of time going through details. I'm not going to do that today. I'm really going to give you the basics. And the basics are, I'm going to draw the head. I'm going to draw the eyes. I'm going to draw the nose and the mouth. Okay? Everything beyond that is bonus. Okay? There's a number of ways to draw the head. Probably the most effective is an oval. Okay? You can draw a triangle. You can draw like this. Right? These are all variations of a head. I'm going to stick with this. Okay? So we're going to do eyes, and I'm going to give you 3 sets of eyes. You go about halfway down the oval. Okay? Now I'm going to do a nose. Okay, let's do this. Better. I'm going to do this one. Okay. Now I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to do this because I'm going to show you something interesting about these. Now, you look at this, and this could be like a side-eye thing. It could be, I'm very skeptical. You look at this, it could be, I'm worried or I'm okay. And you look at this, it could be indifferent. All right. The thing that changes this is the mouth. So I could take this and I can make it happy. Okay? I could take this and I could make somebody who's really sad. I could take this and I can make somebody who's indifferent. Very simple. Let's change it up a little bit. All right. I'm going to make this person indifferent. I'm going to make this person happy. I'm going to make this person sad. So very simple marks can convey a ton of information. Okay, now beyond this, I'll give you a couple of little things you can do to spice this up. One is ears. Okay, and with ears, you can do semicircles, you can do small squares, okay, you can do headphones, okay, these are different things you can do. You can get kind of like this, kind of Spock ears if you want. Well, let's just do them here. So we got ears, okay, so you see, you can convey a lot of information with these simple things. Then you could go with glasses. Okay, and glasses, you can do kind of a hipster look. You can do kind of a science-y look or a John Lennon look. Right? Those are just really simple ones. So let's take this person here. Let's hipsterize them. Let's take this one. Kind of erase those. See? Get some interesting things going on. You can do hair. Okay, and with hair, this gets tricky. So the most simple hair is just like this. Okay, you can go and do like that. Okay, that can be a man, and then you could take that and make it a female. So pretty straightforward when you do that. And then there's all the things about, okay, I want to add a goatee. That's not a good one here. Let's do this a little better. Right? All right, so you could do beard, and then you could do a neck and shoulders. So we could do like this. Right? Pretty straightforward. Okay, kind of nice. So if you really want to have something that has a little bit more character than these, this is the direction you can go. Now, I want to emphasize, just like stick figures, these are fantastic. They convey all the things you may need to convey. If you want to get to personas and you want to get to some subtleties in your drawing, really, especially if you're doing a post-conversation drawing, in the moment, the drawing you may not be able to do all of this fun stuff unless there's a lull in the conversation and you have a few minutes to add stuff. All right, so faces, simple, expressive, and different options, head, eyes, nose, mouth, and then everything else becomes bonus. All right, now I'm gonna move on to 3D shapes. Okay. With 3D shapes, I'm going to just give you a couple of very simple shapes that you can do 3D. And you see one here. Okay, your number one thing you need to do is pick a perspective. So on your whiteboard, now you may have a default perspective and that's what you always use, or you may have a perspective that varies based on the content. Up to you. Okay, so what I mean by pick a perspective is which way. So this perspective is down to the left. Okay, so like that. Okay, pretty straightforward. Okay, that's not a big deal. Easy to do. If you want, I'm going to give you a simple way to do this without a lot of extra. All you do is that. Just outline it on one side and you've got a 3D perspective. You can do the same thing with, you can do a triangle, not a triangle, sorry, a rectangle. You can do a triangle. It gets a little more interesting with a triangle because, you know, the angles and, sorry, that sounded funny, but just how much of this is visible and all that good fun business. And then circles or spheres. I really never do spheres when it comes to 3D perspective, so I'm not going to show you that. I'm going to show you a cloud though, because a cloud can be, I haven't really done lots of clouds. Now that's an interesting thing because that's a great way to describe a network or the cloud or weather or all sorts of things. But definitely get good at creating a shape like that. I want to take that, I want to make a little bit of 3D. I can just do like that. Okay. If I want, I can go a little bigger. Okay. And that gives it some perspective. I can also, similar to this, I could shade, you know, that, and that gives it some texture and some visual interest, kind of what I did up here. Okay, so number one thing, pick a perspective, you draw your shape, you add your thing. You can do any shape with 3D perspective as long as you are consistent. The last thing I'm going to do, and I'm not going to erase this, I'm going to talk about shading. Now, actually, before I do shading, I want to talk about connecting things with 3D. So let's do a few more 3D shapes here. Let's do this. Okay, that's not good. Here, let's clean that up. All right, so I want to connect this guy to this guy, and I'm going to do it from here to here. Okay, so I'm going to go down, over, up. Okay, now I'm going to, from here, I'm going to connect to here. Okay, and from here, I'm going to connect to there. You see what I'm doing is I'm leveraging the visual 3 dimensions to do connections. It doesn't help if you just go like this, right? That's not, it doesn't actually convey what you're trying to convey. One of the things you can do though, and I'm going to show you this. Yeah, it doesn't work here as much as, oh, it does actually. Here, let me show you this. Okay, so you want to say it's coming out of this side. So this side's easy, right? You can do that, and it looks like it's coming out of this side of the box. But if it's coming out of this side, all you do is leave a little bit of space. Okay, just a little, and you can go back and you can nudge that out a little bit, and that little space conveys distance and that it's coming out of the middle. So pretty powerful little trick there. All right, I'm going to erase this, and we're going to do shading. And so shading is all about conveying similarities and differences. Okay, so if I did a triangle, a square, and a circle. Okay, those have differences based on their shape. But if I wanted to link them somehow, I could use shading to do that. So let me draw a few other things to make this more. Okay, so I could say I want this, this, and this to be linked. So I can do simple. You don't have to be super precise. Just have the same direction. And that's one way to do it. There's a handful of others, and there's kind of almost an infinite variety, but you want to pick 4 or 5 that you can do consistently. So there's that direction. There's, of course, this direction. Okay. There's crosshatch. Okay. And you can do crosshatch like this. Okay. So those are all. And then there's clearly there's empty, but let's do this. So we can do dots. And you just fill it in a little bit with dots to give it some texture. And you don't have to be super precise. It's as long as you, right. So those two are clearly connected. These three are clearly connected. These are all different. Okay. So shading really makes a difference when you're trying to group dissimilar things so that visually there's a connection. The other thing with using shading is it's a differentiator that you can use if you don't have a second color. So if you have a second color, this is blue, you know, that's another way I could just outline that, and that's differentiated. And if I did, oh hey, anything that's got a blue outline is associated as well. So even though these are, so are those, right? So it's a pretty interesting visual tricks you can do. Okay. That's what I have for today's kata. Now, what do you do on this kata? What I did right there, that's enough. You don't repeating and doing all that kind of stuff. I don't do this setup on a regular basis. What I tend to do is use the Architecting Forever or the Zen doodling board as a way to practice this. So I'll put people on the Zen doodle. I'll shade things. I'll use multiple colors. So that one really is a great way to practice these different things. So we covered figures, faces, shapes, and shading. And I am Rocket, and this has been Whiteboarding with Rocket. Take care.